10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy.
Tell me. Do you bleed? You
Welcome to another edition of Classic Comic Talks. And our first feature for today is let me share the screen. The Boys Season 4 teaser is an ominous reference from Gen V that'll make your head pop. So, Season 4 of The Boys is finally out this summer. A new teaser has dropped for The Boys Season 4, and it's particularly terrifying if you've seen all 8 episodes of Gen V. The official Twitter account for The Boys has released a 1 minute campaign ad featuring none other than Victoria Newman. That's Claudia Dummett. Though this isn't the first time The Boys has released a Newman centered campaign ad, there is something a bit more sinister about this one. In particular, The Boys Season 3 ended with Newman becoming Robert Singer's running mate. In the ad campaign, she makes a point to tell the public that soup lives matter. But if you've seen Gen V, you know she doesn't believe that. Gen V, the spin off, takes place between Season 3 and Season 4. In the Gen V finale, Newman makes off with a virus that specifically kills soups and in a slow, painful, and agonizing way, and has every intention to use it. She even goes so far as to murder the doctor who created it. Soup lives do not matter to Victoria Newman, and we're about to see that unfold in The Boys Season 4. The first trailer for the season 4 hit the internet in December, having been long delayed due to the WGA strike. We'll likely get at the very least, one more trailer before things kick off in June. The Boys Season 4 is set to hit uh, Prime Video on June 13, 2024, with the first 3 episodes in tow. Uh, for more, check out our list of the best new TV show coming your way, blah blah blah. And yeah, so I'm eager uh, to see the new season for The Boys, and yeah, I want to know what happens to our rowdy characters with uh, with continuity intact. Yeah, this is a bloody show that I, for one, am glad is being aired. It's not your typical superhero show, and yeah, here's waiting. Our next news is, of course, Rebel Moon news, and let's see. Rebel Moon 6-hour cut on the way, says Zack Snyder. So the summary is Netflix is releasing a 6-hour cut of Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2 on the same day. Director Zack Snyder has confirmed that the director's cut will include additional footage and to be R-rated. And last, the director's cut is expected to be released in summer 2024, which with each movie being an hour longer than the original PG-13 version. So apparently Netflix is going to release a massive 6-hour cut of Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2, according to Zack Snyder, on the same day. Snyder came up with the story and directed and produced the flick, has also confirmed his director's cut will feature additional footage and to be R-rated, as the regular Netflix versions are both PG-13. Those will come out probably the same day later, Snyder told the iMinutemen YouTube channel. We don't have a date yet, but I think it's going to be in the summer. Snyder added, they're each about an hour longer than the originals, the PG-13 version, so it will be nice to see the 6 hours together. You can take a break, of course. It's a more maybe immersive experience. I'm interested for people to see it in that way. It's very adult. It's very R-rated. Rebel Moon Part 1 is already out on Netflix with Part 2 due out on April 19, 2024. Snyder also previously said with almost an hour of new footage for each movie and a majority of this hopefully fleshing out the characters and making them more compelling. The Rebel Moon director's cut could actually end up being the superior cuts of the film. Rebel Moon Part 1 got slammed by both critics and fans. Its Rotten Tomato score is only 21% and audience score is only 15%. Well, according to those dumb cups. So who cares what Rotten Tomato says? We're still waiting for Rebel Moon Part 2 to pop up, and we're eagerly awaiting the director's cut, the extended versions, this coming summer. And yeah, summer's gonna be hot. So last news today is the Batman, the first night #1 review. This is Pulp Batman Remix. Writer, a compelling tale built upon Batman's earliest appearances, revisits 1939. Writer Don Jurgens and artist Mike Perkins revisit Batman in the Golden Age with a new story that reflects both the real world issues of the time and the pulp roots of the superhero. In the Batman First Night #1, Jurgens and Perkins bring back the gritty pulp Batman that first appeared in Detective #27, a powerless crime fighter with few friends and only a handful of resources. While the comic seems to relish showcasing Batman's roots and how different the Golden Age Batman was from his modern incarnation, Jurgens and Perkins still tell a compelling pulp tale that excites and intrigues on its own merit. Batman has changed significantly over the past 5 years, morphing from a street level loner superhero whose villains stood on the edge of the occult to a hero with seemingly limitless resources and no lack of allies. But in the earliest Batman stories, even some of the era-spanning fundamentals were missing. Alfred wasn't around, nor was the Batmobile, or even Gotham City. Instead, Batman prowled New York City in a red sedan and barely survived encounters with the strange crook he faced. Well, that was the last part remains consistent. There's a certain atmosphere found in the earliest Batman comics and one that's often missing in attempts to recapture Batman's pulp roots in various prestige miniseries that DC has published over the years. Some of that is due to excising Batman away from some stories that touch on yellow peril themes, but DC often overrides the periphery of those older Batman stories with elements from modern comics. Those, excuse me. The Batman First Night goes the opposite route by relishing every detail from those early detective comic stories. There are tons of little nods to early detective comics, from the purple gloves that Batman wears to Julie Madison, Batman's fiancée. Although although it appears the story is meant to be her first meeting with Bruce, to the red sedan and that Batman would drive during his stint as Batman, to even Batman's monologues, to himself filling the empty air, making up for his lack of supporting cast. Many of these little details have been referenced in countless other Batman comics, but usually as some passing nod or Easter egg. In First Night, these details serve as contrast, working as little ways to remind readers that Batman is very different from the modern day Batman, or even common conceptions of what the Golden Age Batman was. Another interesting touch is how Jurgens and Perkins utilized the real world New York City as the setting for their new series. The original Batman stories were set in New York City, but Jurgens and Perkins bring some historical elements of the era, specifically tied to the unease over the rise of Nazism and how even some in the US seems to swayed by its cause. The comic itself is set in the spring of 1939, just a few weeks after the Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden. And Batman at some point encounters a friendly rabbi who shares his fears about Gotham City being overrun with the same anti-Semitism that's overtaken Germany. The story itself is a new one that feels at home with the other Golden Age pulp Batman stories, with Gordon and Batman investigating a series of grisly murders of politicians. Batman finds a valuable clue after a confrontation with the brutish murderer, although it leads to an even stranger theory that Batman investigates with electric consequences. Perkins' artwork is a perfect fit for this story. He's always been one of the best artists in terms of capturing the essence of pulp and horror, and he seems to take up another notch with this story. I can't stress how much Perkins adds to the comic by providing the proper mood and capturing a Batman who is both brooding and dangerous, but also very human and vulnerable. The Batman First Night #1 is a loving recreation of the earliest days of the Batman, one that excels in capturing the mood of those first stories in a way that other comics never quite hit. The comic book celebrates the difference between the original Batman and the modern day and finds a way to use those differences to tell a story that modern ones would struggle with. At the same time, this series also acknowledges the realities that comes with setting a comic book in 1939, not shying away from the ugliness that era, nor presenting a version of New York that simply never existed. The reason is a fun pulp comic book and altogether compelling read. Yeah, this will be released on March 5. I already read uh, the comic book, and I must say it's good. It's very good, and it's a different take on the Batman, and compared to the modern ones. Well, you have to see for yourself.